Alright guys, so today for this lesson we are going to be talking about intercepts. And on the screen you see the question is, what are intercepts? The best way that I like to think about intercepts is an analogy that I use with football. If you think about football, an interception is when the defense takes the ball, so the quarterback throws the ball to the receiver, and the defense needs to go in between the quarterback and the receiver to take that ball away, to catch that ball before the receiver does. So essentially what's happening is that receiver is crossing the line between the quarterback and the receiver. So that is exactly what an intercept is. You see two lines on my screen right now. You see a blue line and a red line. We'll focus on the blue line right now. The intercepts of a line are, where does that line cross in two places? First, where does it cross the y-axis? And second, where does it cross the x-axis? Okay, now if you think about those points, this point here where it crosses the x-axis, we can label that, and look here, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the x, and it doesn't go up or down at all, so it's got a point of 0 on the y. This one here on the y-axis has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as the y, and 0 as the x. Okay, so intercepts again are, where does that point, or where does that line cross exactly on the y-axis and the x-axis? There are two things we want to look for, though, again, when we do the intercepts. The x-intercept is always going to have a y coordinate of 0, and the y-intercept is always going to have an x-coordinate of 0. Again, notice the y-intercept has an x-coordinate of 0, and the x-intercept has a y-coordinate of 0. If we look at this red one, where does it cross the x-axis? Right here. That's your x-intercept because it crosses the x-axis. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 0. And here it crosses the y-axis. That's your y-intercept. So it's going to be 0.02. Now you're probably asking, what does this have to do with what we were doing before, right? So here are the two functions of those lines that we just looked at. We have y equals negative x plus 5 and y equals 1/2 x plus 2. Now recently, over the last couple of lessons, you've been solving these functions with tables, right? And you would make a table with your x coordinates and your y coordinates, and you'd choose a bunch of different numbers and solve them out, okay? Now eventually what's going to happen is we're going to take the numbers that are in this table and make lines like you see here. But for now, we're just practicing doing these things as just solving them using tables. And if you notice that I could make this line using just those 2 points, right? I don't need multiple points to make a line. I could use multiple points, but if I just drew that line, I don't need all 4 of those. I could have just used that one and that one, right? Now, what's an easy way to do that? Is just use the intercepts. So I still make my XY table. However, I'm going to use the x-intercept and the y-intercept, okay? Now remember back here I said the x-intercept has a y of 0, and the y-intercept has an x of 0. So this is how your table is going to start. From there, Now we just substitute these numbers into that function and solve it. Let's do that first one. Here it says y equals 0, so take this y in that function and make it 0. So we'll have 0 equals negative x plus 5. Notice nothing here changed because my y is the only thing that's 0. Now solve this like an equation. I'm going to do minus 5 on both sides to get rid of it. So now I have x, negative x here. I have negative 5 over here. I want to get rid of this negative on this side, which means I get rid of the negative on this side. So x here then is 5. Done. Now do the other one. Let's get rid of that. And here I will take my x this time and substitute my x. So I'm not doing anything to my y. My negative stays, but it's going to be 0, so that doesn't matter. Plus 5. Solve that. Y is 5. And you're done. That's solving a function table with intercepts. Let's look at this other one. Do it in a different color. I have my x and y chart. I have 0 and 0. First substitute y for 0. 0 equals 1/2 of x plus 2. Then let's solve this out. Plus 2, or I'm sorry, minus 2, minus 2. Now I have negative 2 equals 1/2 of x. To get rid of this fraction, remember, just multiply it by 2, multiply it by its denominator. 2 times negative 2 gives us negative 4. That part's done. Do the other one. Make x 0 this time. So now I have y equals 1/2 times 0 plus 2. 1/2 times 0 is 0. Plus 2 makes 2. So my y is 2. And I'm done. Guys, that's using intercepts. That's solving functions using intercepts. So again, go ahead, go to the practice portion, and start practicing. If you have questions, please ask, and go ahead and work your way through the rest of the lesson. I hope this helped.